Right, in this video we're going to be talking about what happens when, and this happens to most cars eventually. Okay, eventually what happens is your starting system to start the car, they kind of all catch up with each other and they all fail at the same time. So namely, what's your starting systems? You've got your battery, you've got your alternator, and you've got your starter motor. Okay, those three things, sometimes they can fail all at the same time. One thing that is failing would cause symptoms in the other, and you would think vice versa. You would think if one thing's wrong, it could cause you to think it's the other thing that's wrong. So what do I mean? Everybody knows, hopefully, that watch my channel, I've been having problems with my battery. Right, okay, so the battery was swapped recently for a new Ford battery, right? The old battery from the other firm was swapped for a new battery. And what was wrong with the new battery? Nothing. The car started up, it was working very well for a week or two. No problems with the stop start, everything is fine. Reset the battery and the ECU to let it know. That's 5 flashes with the engine on and light on, 5 flashes of the main beam, and then plus 3 foot pedal steps. Alright, so that was done. So what happened next? Okay. Oh, by the way, when I went to check the battery, the condition of battery and alternator, they said my alternator was good. Alright, I knew that, but they confirmed the alternator was good. The battery was faulty, that's why I did change 2 months ago. New battery failed. Alright, so I changed it for a Ford battery. As you can see, it's very windy today. Alright, okay. So what happened? Went to crank it the other day. Wouldn't crank. I thought, what's going on? So I tested my battery. It was at 12.33 volts, the new Ford battery. And I thought, oh no, something wrong here. Why is it at 12.33? Okay. So could it be this Ford battery that is faulty? Could be, but I remember I did a parasitic draw test, a thorough one, with quite a good ammeter, although I need to change it for a better ammeter to do a second test later on. And I was satisfied that I couldn't see on the observable parasitic draw. So what was it? Okay, didn't know at the time. So I ended up using a trickle charge to charge my Ford battery, charged it overnight, cranked the engine, pressed the start button, wouldn't start. I thought, very strange, why would it not start? The only way it won't start with a battery full of charge at 12.78 volts is the starter motor. So the starter motor failed. Alright, okay. I consider, why would the starter motor fail? Right, this starter motor that I put in, see one of my previous videos, that's why I'm not going to go into how to take the starter motor out. The previous starter motor was 18,000 miles on the clock, so they say, right? That was 3 years ago, right? The first starter motor from Ford failed after 5 years, right? So I've already put another 3 years on top of the starter motor. So it does make sense that the starter motor is starting to fail. Wouldn't say it's completely failed. In the old days, sometimes your starter motor doesn't start. You get a hammer, you hit it, and then it'll go, and it'll run you for a few more months or years, yeah? So the starter motor is starting to go. Alright, okay. So what did I do? I just thought, okay, led my car, got it going. Then I tested, I thought, let me just test what's going on with the 2 terminals of the car running. Oh dear, 11.5 volts. Oh, okay, that means the alternators failed. The alternators seem to have failed exactly the wrong time. So 2 weeks ago it was absolutely fine, 2 weeks later it's absolutely failing. The alternator, I think, had about 40,000 miles on it when I put it in. That was last year. So I know the battery's new. So I've got brand new. So brand new alternator I bought. Is it OEM quality? It looks OEM quality, and a brand new starter motor. The alternator looks exactly like the original alternator from Valio, I think, and the starter motor looks a bit different, but I've checked it, you know, when I bought it from eBay. The links will be in the description. of course, if it does work. If it doesn't work, I wouldn't put a link in the description. The starter motor was also new, brand new. Starter motor was about 120, alternator was about 140. Right, okay, so you'll see me, basically, I'm not going to go through, I'll put links in the description, links to other videos right at the end, where I do the alternator and I do the starter motor separately. Very, very difficult job, very, very difficult, especially the starter motor. You'll see. All right. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to begin the job. You can see the light is failing. I've just cleared all the leaves from the floor, so it gives me a better access. And I'm just going to, hopefully tonight, with the rest of the light that I've got, I'm going to jack up the car, remove the battery tray. I don't think I'm going to untension the auxiliary belt and take out the tensioner. I think it's quite a difficult job. I'm going to leave that till tomorrow. And so the battery tray and the battery tonight, I'm going to charge the Ford battery overnight, and I'm going to leave it there. Next scene should be in bright daylight. Alright, so the next day I actually jacked it up the next day because it's too dark and this job is too important not to do it properly. I'm just going to tip the camera over. Jacking it up, that's a 3-ton jack, and that's on the subframe right there. That's quite a strong piece of metal right there on this car. Back up, 2-ton jack on the normal place of the jacking point. Same with the other side. And the reason I swapped to a 3-ton jack, I was using the 2 tons here, the 3-legged one, but only like 2 legs were sitting on the floor. And then like look at that, and you know, I'll be sitting on top of the car, adding extra weight. So safety first, swap to the 3-ton, and I got my chocks, 20 kilogram bricks each, concrete bricks. You see how high it's got to ride right onto the job. Well, I'm going to set it up because I won't be able to do this in one day. That I can stop and put everything away and leave it for the following day, so the axle stands, they can stay. Alright, so some of the things, take all your stuff wherever you got out of the boot, because I'm going to take the battery out. See link in the description how to remove this battery, and for all the comments that you see in there, sometimes they say, oh, you don't need to do all that. Actually, referred to the Haynes Manual I bought recently online. I do exactly what they suggest. Take the air box out, even take this pipe out. So take the air box out to remove the battery. So see link in the description. Under tray's got to come off. Under tray's easy. Just get underneath, undo the screws, and get a trim remover, remove those 2 lugs. Those are 2 easy jobs to start with. Beyond that, I will probably start filming when I start to take this battery box out. Now what I'm going to do is actually something I don't normally do, is I'm going to write things down, because I'm going to do 2 jobs in one go, and the order of it, and when I finish with it, finish what I need to do, I'll go backwards up the list, tick off what I should do, because there's loads of plugs and things I'm going to have to unplug. And if I miss one when I put it all back together, imagine there's a plug undone, it's deep in there, what's going to happen? You know, all the nuts and bolts, I'm going to record it all as well. Please see link in the description next for how to remove the fuel filter, because that would really help. Although it's not recommended in the Haynes Manual, but fuel filter really is in the way, and it is right there. So I will consider not removing that, but definitely battery box, air box. Alright, so first job, as you know, disconnect that. Battery removed and being charged. Now I figured out why when I charged it up overnight last time wasn't much charge in the battery. Only got 12.7, I was hoping more like 13 for a new battery. Reason being is connectors were loose inside the plug, on my extender cable, so it was intermittent, I guess, charging a little bit and then cut. Right, next task, I'm going to be removing this tray. Notice I've unplugged this battery. I think this is a battery temperature sensor. I think, I'm not 100% sure. It just is a big old pipe, leads to the exhaust system, right? I'm not 100% sure what that sensor is, but I unplugged that anyway. It's a grey sensor, and where is it? It is here, that one there. That simply just pushes in and comes out. Removed the two grey lugs here, just remove them. There's another one there and there's another one here, so one here, two at the front. The tray comes forward. You can't really flip it until it's flat. I'm not going to suggest it. Just bending it back so it's out of the way. So, and also this is the battery sensor. It was on the negative terminal, unplugged that. Alright, so this is ready to come out. 1, 2 at least, and maybe 3. Right, looks like 1, 2, 3. At least 2, we'll see. Not sure what's in there, there's nothing in there. These bolts are really rusty, so good luck to you for removing them. I'm just going to put some, well, I think this is contact spray. I'm going to put some copper ease in it as well. So those two are 10, that one's 8, and you've got to remove the two 8s from this grey plugs housing, so it flips off and you can remove the tray. It's always a good idea to do things like, oh, so last time this one here was really rusty. I remember putting copper ease in it, and this one's much easier to remove. So it's always worth taking that extra bit of step too, because imagine that broke off, the bolt broke off in the, you know, what extra trouble am I going to get? So take that extra bit of care to do what you got to do, make your job life easier the next time round. Copper ease is good, I'll leave a link in the description. Just helps to stop seizing parts, comes in handy for brakes as well. The reason why those nuts, those bolts are rusty is because if you open up your Ford Focus, now it shouldn't be made like that way, but if you open it Ford Focus Mark III, you'll notice that there's some drainage holes right here where my finger is. When the water comes, the water just drains straight onto the battery housing, and the cover does protect it a bit, but why should it do that? Some water gets in the tray and rusts it. That's why I've got taping up the holes. I don't know why they would put drainage holes there, but they have. See, that one had copper ease in it and it had no rust on it. This is 7, so I'll use my hose removal tool. And this is going to fall out. The rest, it's really falling out. I'll let go of the falling. Grub screw. So if I was a tear at that, that'd be it for that rubber bump. Strange design. Not sure why they've done it that way. Strangely enough, that nut there is stainless steel. Might be a reason for that. So that one that fitted on here is stainless steel, and I am going to respect that. Make sure the stainless steel one goes back. I'm going to deposit it somewhere not on the magnetic tray, because that's going to. Alright, so I take the tray out and I put the screw back on here, but obviously it's easier when it's out. So that's how you take the battery tray off. So if you want to use that for your self-help, that's fine. Okay, having done this job before, I do remember taking the gear selector off, I think it's this nut I take off and that nut, and that loosens this bracket. I do remember not being able to wedge this out. It's like really wedged into the bracket, so I just took the whole bracket with me, and I guess I'll have to undo this selector as well, and the whole bracket shifts away so I get more access to the sensors. No, not the sensor, the start motor. I've just paused to stop talking for a second because I thought it's like something plugged there. I'm not sure what that is. I don't think it is. It's just the way it sits in the, just the way the cable sits in the bracket, I think. Yeah. So still haven't. I do remember having trouble looking for the thing. So this thing I did remove before. I'm considering whether or not to remove it now, but these two definitely did do. I'm just thinking, considering also if this came off, it'll be a bit easier. I'll have a bit more room again, but not necessary. I haven't unplugged this, wherever that is, that sensor. I've just left that. Move on to one side. Check the general state of these earthing points. One of them go rusty. Things start going wrong. So from underneath in daylight, hopefully it does help in daylight, there's a sump, just to give you coordinates. As there is nightmarish to reach starter motor. You can see one bolt. You can see the terminal connectors. So looking at the new start motor, we give you the idea where the other bolt is, and so there it is. So one of them comes out this way. Okay. Let me investigate some more and I'll give you some good old. That's what I think the bolt is, the second bolt. Use the pointer, so I'm going to go underneath to see if that pointer direction where it's pointing matches the opposite end of that start motor. Okay, you can see the shiny pointer does appear to point at the opposite bolt. So, is this the bolt on this side, and is that the bolt on the other side? That is the question. Can I undo these, and can this fall out from underneath? Maybe. Are these hoses flexible? Can they get out of the way? Somewhat. This was moved out. This was taken out. This kind of, oh, I just unplugged it. It's still quite stiff. Okay. I'll have further investigation. Do some research on my own work and other people's work, like Haynes Manual. I think they say you don't need to take off the fuel filter. Right, see, follow this pinkly cable down. You see down here, when I'm plugging it, there is the other end of a bolt. I'm not sure if that's a securing bolt to the other end from underneath where we can see, but I am going to measure the distance from here to here, see if it matches the distance from here to here, and this looks much further. I am getting a little bit perturbed. I'm not sure, not 100% sure, but if it was from here to here it would make sense. From here to here. So there is a screw end on this end, screw end here. So it looks like it's 3 bolts. One with a dowel, it's one we can see easily,
one on the rear, the bottom is going to sit this angle. I'm going to measure the distance between here and here. I think it sits like this. Yeah, I think it sits like this in the and this is the top of it, like that. I think. Let me measure these two distances. There's a rough guess. I think that's 8mm. Yeah, it's about right. There, I think those are the two holes that we can see, and there's one mystery one down here. Right, okay, I figured out, hopefully. But this one here, where my pointer is pointing, I'll get some light on here. Apologies. See where that kind of plastic cap is? If I pull that out, there's a bolt in there. So this is the one with a dowel pin in it. This one is the other bolt that is 8 centimeters across. So watch. Just reach in there. That. There it is. There it is. It's a nut. So that one there is a nut. Hopefully, get a proper angle on it. You see it. That's a nut. One pointing. That's a nut. That's where the dowel pin is. Alright. Don't exactly know what's on the other side. I'm just going to feel. So I'm feeling all the way across the other side. It's not a nut. It's just like a thread. If I think it's just like a thread. I just have to pull my gloves off so I don't feel any threads on it, any nut. So I'm reaching right around the other side. See what I can feel. No, it's smooth. It's not a thread on the other side. It looks just like a nut. Yeah. I'm not sure if it just slides into a shaft. I'm not 100% sure. It is a, remember, it is a dowel pin. That's an obvious bolt, right? Large bolt goes through here like that. Small nut, it could even be a bolt disguised as a nut, goes through here, right? And the bottom one is the one that's easy to see and undo, I think, in my opinion. Bottom one, should get my torch. Right, the bottom one is that one there, where I've got my pointer pointing at it. So there's a few down there, so not this massive one below it, a couple of inches below, not that massive one. Careful which one you undo. So it's that one. I probably even marked it up. I should, that's a smart thing. Next time what I might do is just paint on it. Make sure it's painted white or something. So the bottom one just sits in housing. The top two going to be awkward. The bottom one's fairly easy. So when I come to remove these, obviously these terminals I take off, right? Take off the terminal, unplug some unplugging, wherever needs unplugging, and then bolts next. So terminals off first. What you don't want to do is if you take these bolts and nuts off, the thing just drops and just damages the cable. You don't want to do that. Where my pointer is pointing, that's the obvious one to undo for the cable, electrical cables. I can't remember where the second one is, but I reckon that big old thick black cable connected to it just comes straight off. Could just probably just be one cable.
because the other parts of electricity conducts through the body of the car, maybe, who knows. But let's have a look. I'll tell you. There's the one connected to the large cable, black cable, and this one must be the other one, so there must be two cables. Can't really see that nut from underneath. I'll have a second look. So just to orientate you properly and orientate me properly, that'll be upwards in the sky. There's the thick black cable there, right? That one that connects there, and it's diagonally sort of back towards the front of the car. There's the other one. Right, to remove the electrical cable from the alternator, not starter motor, the big nut, you see, and the other nut has to both come out, because that thing there is, well, you know, I've got it pulled up and out of the way now. That is a one unit, so positive and negative are one unit. So then it pulls out. I've just put the nut back on. That's all. So I know it's disconnected now. Probably spray some contact spray on those two terminals there. All right. That's it for that part. Right. So with the terminals disconnected on the starter motor, I'm looking at to undo this nut. Let me get my light on it. This nut. Now we're in the darkness because I had to go off and do some work. This one and this one, which is the one that's always in the way. And if I remember rightly, the bracket becomes slightly loose. This is a nightmare of a job to take off this clutch cable and gear selector, whatever it is, it plugs in through these bungs. So they're absolutely a real job to take out. It's easier just to undo them too. Pop these off, they're easy. Where the cable connector connects to the mechanism, there's one here, one arm, and one ball joint. I've got my big light on there, shining right in there, so it's much easier to see. I am erring on the side of using only, not taking off the fuel filter. I'm going to go with that method. I do believe it's possible without. Let's hope that I didn't do it up too tight. No, I didn't. There we go. Is that one loose? There's this one. Well, I'm going to do the rest by hand, I don't want to drop them. Okay, get magnetic trays ready. That's 10mm, looks like that. Second 10mm is identical. Hopefully this pops out nice and easy. Two selectors with a ball joint that sit in the ball joint. If you remember where they are about. One pop just popped off. A little bit hard, but it's okay. I'll probably put some grease on that in a second. And the second one pops off from the side. A little bit more awkward. I don't remember taking the second one off on the way. It comes off anyway.
That's okay. Fly-bar job. I'll put some grease on it to start with. So that is kind of out of the way. And this bracket's not moving, which means there's a third bolt. Or did I take? Oh, it does move. Oh, it sits onto the back of a rubber bung. Yeah, sits onto the back. So I'll kind of lifted them up. I'm not 100% aware of what kind of. I bet it's pushed backwards, but I'm reluctant to take it off in case I can't put it back on. So I can try and find a bit of room for myself. I shall let you know what I've done in the end. I'm very reluctant to take that off since I can't see what I'm doing. It looks like it impales onto something rubber back here. I mean, if that was to come out of the way, so easy if it did just come out of the way. Nothing there, nothing there. Just it could be the stiffness of the cables that's making it feel that way. Can't really tell. You feel like it's on anything else anymore. And there's a third nut back there, have you seen it? Yeah, there's a third nut. Now I might just loosen that one. And I'll put my pointer in it. I can't see it easily. That one I'm just going to loosen. Right. Is here where I've got my pointer. See if I can get it, orientate it properly. Here. There's a 10mm nut just here. Just there. 1, 2, 3, and the third one looks exactly the same. You can reach the third one. Even I kind of came over the top. You can kind of almost get to it underneath. And it looks like the bracket just moves nicely away. Can't imagine anything else in the way. It's just the stiffness of the cable. It's giving you a bit of resistance. So I'll move that out of the way. Yep. Yeah, that's out of the way. There it is, out of the way. There's no washers or anything like that. So you can see clearly there, that's the real one. So it exposes that first large bolt clearly. Now let's get some tools on. Okay, I used a 3/8 bar, wobble bar extension. It's a 13 shallow socket, and it's maybe 29 newton meters, and it felt like 29 newton meters from how I tightened it last time. That's good. So the other one looks like a 10mm. I'm not sure exactly. Still haven't figured out if it's a bolt or. So the next one is also a 10mm bolt, thankfully. I'll get my pointer on it. Some light, more light on it. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning over sideways. There it is. Get more light on it. There it is. I'm right way up now. Where my pointer is pointing, 10mm bolt. I thought it was a nut, it looked like a nut. See if I can get you a bit closer. Pointer's pointing at the 10mm bolt, and the other 13mm bolt is on the other side, and it's a bit, they're not too tight. It should be about 29 newton meters.
Oh, I just use a 1/4-inch ratchet with a deep socket. Just went in like that and just undid it. Shouldn't be too tight. I remember when I first did this, it was very, very tight. Whoever did it out before, and I had to go over from the top, remove the fuel filter, and then go over the top with angled spanners, ring spanners, because they were so tight. All right. So the small diameter 10mm bolt that fits into the dowel looks about like that. No rust in it, but I should probably put a bit of anti-seize on it anyway. I'm just going to loosen up that top 13mm a bit more, and I'm going to leave it because if I was to undo this one and then undo the bottom one, it might fall and hit me on the head, if you know what I mean. So, I don't really need the part, so I don't mind it falling. I'm just going to really think about which order. Right, the order is I'm going to remove this one and leave the one at the bottom, because reverse, when I'm putting the new one back on, I'll be pushing it up and putting the bottom bolt in. So I've loosened that a bit more. I won't loosen it all the way, otherwise it might make the removal of the bottom one harder. So I'm going to crack that nut on. I don't even know what it was, maybe a 10, maybe a 13, I don't. So just to remind you, I am cracking this one. Where my pointer's pointing. How did I notice that one? I basically followed this flange on this, on the new, look, notice this flange here, this triangular flange. Right, let's get some light in here. See if I can get it. Get some light, it's hard. Triangle flange just here leads to the nut and the bolt. Right, so notice that. Let me get proper units. There we go, that's a proper. Where the point is pointing, triangle flange just underneath it points to the nut. So remember that triangle flange. We'll have a look at the new one. That's how I figured out it must be that one. And here's the triangular bit, and there's the hole. See it? So the bolt goes in that way. Alright. It's a 10mm. I'm not going to go underneath and film it, but it's a 10mm. I'm just going to crack the bolt. I use a ring spanner. It's not very tight. Ideally, I think you use a ratchet spanner, ring spanner, one of those ratchet ones. And I might use it now. That wasn't very tight at all, which is good. In the end, I'm using a 1/4-inch small extension to give me the clearance, and a wobble bar. See if it's in here. Like I said, I've loosened it already, and look, plenty of room to work with now. I'm just going to leave that as it is and do the 13mm above. Large 13mm looks like that. So now we're left just with 2 holes at the top. Now I'm going to give that a shake. Yep. So I was thinking, if it's not loose, something ain't quite right. So give it a shake again. Look, there's a light on it. There you go. Look, just held in one. Oh, that's already just fell off the dowel. Don't want to do that. Target that bolt now. Can't do this with one hand on the camera. No, that's inserted there with my finger, so I'm going to pop that out before because otherwise it's going to fall, dragging the cable down with it. I think that's the only thing. So I'm going to write that down as well. One of the things to do. Make sure I remember to pop that one back in. No, I did not forget, I just said that. This pushes into a bracket, and the bracket holds the cable that pushes in, so the bracket the little flange just pulls out. So no need to unbuckle the cabling, it just comes out anyway. So this is the last bolt. It's wobbly, it's on the dowel at the moment. Right, so here we go. I'm going to wobble off the dowel and fall. It's quite heavy, So move as many things out of the way as possible. It's going to fall. Is there any other cable in the way? Sometimes it's good to get a bungee just to drag it out of the way. This cable, this pipe is a water drainage pipe. There's this. Don't let it hit this and rip the oxygen sensor off. If this comes out easy, I will pull this out and I'll write it down. I think it's going to tear on it. It's going to fall and hit it, I think. Well, I can pull it out of there if I can. This won't be easy. One hand. Easier just to yank it out of there. One can. This one do it one, two-handed. Oh, it's coming out. Well, let me see if I do. So, oxygen sensor unplugged. I'm going to spray some contact spray on there and in there, so I know it's this is free to come out below. All right. Well, it's wobbly. I'm just going to wobble it a bit more, knock it off the dowel, then I'm going to take this camera off line. Just wondering if there's anything else holding it. Can't do this two-handed, I'm going to hurt myself. Must be about 5 or 6 kg, don't want to hit in my face. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh yeah, done it. Okay, one-handed. Okay, let's match it up to the new one. So matching them, they do look the same. And when I look at it this way, there's the dowel on this side, so it's this way up, sorry, that way up. Match it up. Yep, so we can do a direct comparison. Hopefully it's exactly the same. Do buy this stop-start version if you've got the stop-start in your car, and if you've not got a stop-start, get the other version. Right, so that is it really. Assembly is a reversal removal. Alright, so note the points I made. The first thing I'm going to do is put this in, put the bottom 10mm bolt in, and then oxygen sensor next. Alright, so I don't forget that. And then the other 2 bolts, and then all the rest of it, gear selector, etc. Alright, thanks for watching so far, but we're not finished yet. Next, you'll see me in daylight, and I'll be doing the try problem area, which is the alternator. So tomorrow's alternator. So this version I've done on this start mode is a better version than I did in the past. Half of it's in daylight, that's already better, but it's much easier to follow, and it's much simpler. That I didn't bother with the fuel filter. Okay, it's the next morning, and a big job today, the alternator, of course, and I've got various other things to do in the car to get it to proper running order. So do a bit of reading, a bit of watching my own video, and a bit of looking at the Haynes Manual. And the reason why I am using Haynes is not really by choice. However, one of the main reasons is because the e-manual online that I normally do use, the one with the Ford over file, you use the virtual machine to operate. That particular one is the best one in my opinion, because that's straight from Ford. That's what the mechanics use. They've got extra kind of add-ons if they're online, so they've got extra things they can access on that Ford ETIS or ETS thing that they use, right? The system they use. However, that's the best one. It gives you like the proper Ford specs and the proper Ford diagnosis, everything like that. But that is playing up. It's not really. It's so. I've got it working on one computer, another two computers not working, and the computers I have here not working with it. And sometimes it works. 95% of the time it doesn't work. So anyway, some reading. Alternator. Now this, if you're not familiar with Haynes Manual, they always have sections, and the sections always are the same in each and every Haynes Manual. And so in section 5 you will find on a Haynes Manual about the starting system, and if you just can't remember, you go to the front of section 5, starting and charging system. So every Haynes Manual have the same thing. They give you the torque specs. So I know if I was to look up torque wrench settings for, I don't worry about the auxiliary belt, it'll be the alternator diesel. So starter motor, well, don't really need to know start motor, done that yesterday. It should be looking for alternator mounting. Oh, here we go. Alternator mounting bolts, 2 sets, so 45 newton meters for the front, 39 for the back. So the front must mean the larger bolts. Auxiliary drive belt, yeah, so the auxiliary belt side, so where the auxiliary belt is, it's 45, and the rear on the other side, coming in from the left hand side of the engine, which is the passenger side in the UK, only 39. Alright, so that's what we're looking for, things like that. But if we flip to this section here, tells you the spanner, 2 spanners, right, means it's not difficult, but my experience was it was difficult. It's quite a tough job. I would have given this job more like a 4 spanner on the diesel car. I don't know what it's like in a petrol. Runs through the petrol, runs through the 1.6 litre, then the diesel. Right, so I'm just going to read them out. 14, sometimes the pictures correspond to it, so that one does correspond to mine. That pipe there is an intercooler pipe. Need that removing. So intercooler is one thing, remove the pipe. Prise the rubber cap, undo the securing cable. They're talking about the cables on the alternator. I usually do that near the end. Unbolt and remove the auxiliary belt tensioner. That is a, yes, that's definitely what we got to do. The tensioner on the auxiliary belt to remove the auxiliary belt, yeah. Unbolt the air conditioning compressor from the cylinder block. The refrigeration pipes will not have to be disconnected to remove the compressor. Now, before, last time I did this, I didn't know this. I just said, oh, since my system was had no air conditioning fluid in it anyway, I just sort of just undid them, and it had made no difference. Obviously, take care if your system's full of air conditioning. Don't disconnect it like I did. I still might do it because I still haven't got any air conditioning fluid in it, right? So I still might take off the whole compressor, just take it off. That's a bit of a chore to get the pipes off. Don't damage the pipe. So somehow I'm going to support the weight of the air conditioner because it is very heavy. The weight of the pipe, the strength of the pipe shouldn't be used to hold that air conditioner. So I might even use like cable ties or something and tie it up and move it to one side, something like that. We'll see. Slacken the alternator upper and lower motor and rear bolts. Alright, so those are the 2 difficult ones to do. They're on the left hand side of the engine. If you stand in front of the car, it'll be on the right hand side. They're the difficult ones that are really difficult. These do not have to be completely removed, as they only open the slotted bush to secure the alternator in place. Now, I didn't know that they don't have to be completely removed, that they only open the slotted bush to secure the alternator. I didn't know that, so just slacken is all you need. Interesting. But there is a set of threads on that, right on that rear of the alternator. They do fit in, so I'm not 100% sure what I mean. Right. Remove the upper and lower mounting bolt. See, this is the rear bolts. They're saying here, undo them, and there's like a sleeve in there, a metal sleeve, you shall see in a minute. So undo them, and then last time I did undo them, and I did them all the way.
So they're saying you don't need to undo them. Okay, that's something new. So it's a good handy book to have. What have we got here? If you can't see it because the light's a bit too much, dim it a bit. Bolts from the auxiliary belt end of the bolt off. Take off the bolts and lift it upwards from its position. Take it upwards out of the car. Refitting, reversal, and removal. All right, let's see. Obviously, I'll show you what my video before. I'll look for that, and then I'll look through the other two online resources. Right, so here's my video on it. So you search on YouTube, remove, install alternator generator on Ford Focus 1.5 TDCI MK3 with errors, right? So you see, I'm going to look for this in a minute myself. You see the torque specs on there. If you can see it, let me just make that bigger. There's some grayed out torque specs. It will clear up once I start viewing it. So this is on about the intercooler cable pipe. But however, this is from, you can see here, the Ford ETIS IDS. So this was that overfile from, the overfile was called 2017. I can't barely make work anymore. Now it had every single Ford car in it up until that period of about 2017 actually, yeah. So very, very thorough. Some pictures missing, I must admit. It wasn't, Windows wasn't step by step as Haynes Manual. So this is more geared towards, I would say, more the advanced user, advanced home mechanic. Haynes Manual is geared more towards beginner. The book is not, but the online one, I would say, is. So look through this. Okay, let's have a look at the Haynes Manual. I'll show you all of that online Haynes Manual. Okay, so after creating an account, logging in, which I've already done, I had two choices. I bought this one on the left and the one on the right. So this was the one on the left, auto fix, was for £27. The one on the right was £30 with the book and an extra kind of online help guide. Let's view the auto fix, which you can pick up tips here and there, I would say. But like I said, it's a little bit too simplistic for me. So maintain, repair my vehicle, go. So we'll look at alternator renewal. So there's a nice list of it here. Thankfully it's got that. Right, so it's telling you basic stuff. Jack it up carefully. We know about basic operation. Tells you basic stuff to do in your car. This is the brushes. It teaches you about the brushes. Basic. It's a nice video, but this is not the Ford Focus 1.5 TDCI, right? This is just gonna, you're gonna run through what you really got to do. Unbolt it. Unbolt the connector cables, the electricity. Put out all the wiring looms out of the way and then install it. That kind of thing. Remove the belt, of course, first. So this is generic. So far, all generic stuff. If you've done it before, you could skip through this. This is still generic. So I bought this, remember, for Ford Focus in mind. So far, it's not really done me that much of service. So you could say probably did nothing for me, this one. Alright, 3 spanners it says there. Alright, so we'll go back to this, look at the view manual. So it's even got this bottom one is for Mark 3, no facelift, 1.6 litre diesel engine, right? This one here, I can't watch this, I can preview it though. This one I've got. This is the post facelift Mark 3. So this is more 2014 to 2018, this one, and this one's 2011 to 2018, I would say. No, so 2011 to 2014. This one's 2014, 2018, although you've got different dates up there. So we'll review it. So we'll go through it. Looks a bit like this. We're going to go straight for my one.
So this, it's got 1.6, where's 1.5, there it is. 1.5, timing belt. It's good to have got timing belt because that's quite an advanced kind of feature, isn't it? Timing belt, cylinder head, engine, I'm probably missing it somewhere. Look up A again, nope, can't see it, so it's a little bit difficult to navigate. Yeah, a little bit difficult to navigate. See if there's anything on this side. I think there should be. I think I did see something earlier. Let me just find it first. Okay, silly me. So same as in the book. In the book was section 5, isn't it? So it follows that. Silly me. So it follows the book. 5A. So the good thing about this was it's got nice colourful pictures, right? So think of it as like a online copy of the book, right? So we know it's in section 5, and we know when we scroll down, it will talk about eventually the diesel engine, right? Alternator removal and fitting. It goes here. So disconnect battery. I'll read out. Disconnect battery. Negative leads on models hydraulic power for steering. So mine is electrical steering, which means it fails completely when the battery goes and the alternator goes. You can't steer a thing at all. So tells you about that. Jack up, remove the engine under shield, remove the auxiliary drive belt. I've covered that before. Watch one of my previous videos. 1 litre engine, same as in the book. Remove the protective cap. It talks about. I'd probably just leave that to the end, to be honest. Unbolt and remove the auxiliary drive belt tensioner. That's petrol. That's still the 1 litre petrol. 1.6 litre. I don't know whether they mean petrol or diesel. 1.6 litre is what you got to do. Alternator upper mounting bolt. It's very easy. This is what you got to do. This is what you do. Moving down, moving down. There's the remove. I'll just put it there just in case some people, it saves them from having to buy the thing, I guess. But I do encourage you to buy it, of course. 1.6 EcoBoost engine. I think this is petrol EcoBoost. Diesel engine. Here we go. So there's that big old pipe. Get rid of that. It's quite a difficult job to do, but we'll run through that in my video in daylight this time. Apply the rubber cap. I really leave that until I have to do it. Disconnect the wiring plug loom. Alright, I leave that nearer the end. I normally do because unbolt and remove the auxiliary. This is probably our wire next to auxiliary belt tensioner. Depending on the model, there may be 2 or 3 bolts. I think it was in this car 2 on the auxiliary side or the right side, and 2 on the other side, the gearbox side. 2 and 2. It's a 4. I bought the. Oh, sorry, the tensioner. Yeah, on this car, there's only 2 bolts securing the tensioner on the diesel. All right, so don't panic if you see an extra hole on the diesel, and then you go, "Where's that go? I missed one." No, there's only 2 bolts. Unbolt the air conditioning compressor. It says, and move to one side. Refrigerant pipes do not be. We discussed that. Slacken the alternator upper and rear mounting bolt. Slacken the alternator upper and rear mounting bolts. So them 2. So this would be on the left-hand side of your car. I'll make the picture bigger. This would be on the left-hand side of your car. So the passenger side in the UK. This is the drive belt end. So you imagine we're looking from, like, if you was driving in a car, you'll be looking at it like that. So the left-hand side is this one. So it just says to slacken it. You see, it works in a funny kind of system here, doesn't it? If you there's threads there, it goes in there. There's threads. I mean, if you slacken it, how are you going to take it out? I don't. Alright, slacken it. I guess they mean take it out of all the threads, but don't remove it. Because if you removed it, it'll fall out anyway, and you'll lose it. So don't be very. It's very tricky, that bit. You'll see, very tricky. Remove the upper and lower mounting bolts from the auxiliary belt end of the alternator. So this end now, that would be the right hand side of the engine. That's an easy one to get to. The second bolt is hidden behind the tensioner. Once you remove the tensioner, you see the second bolt. Oh yeah. Refitting is reversal removal. So the difficult job, I would say, in this job, getting the tensioner off isn't too bad. It's this bit here. You just think, oh my word, that's going to fall and get lost in like a crevice of the engine anytime. But it just says to slacken. But I can tell you, I've done it before. There's a space behind that. Both of these can fall behind once you've slackened them, and they'll just drop down a deep crevice. Never to be seen again. Right, okay. So pretty much that's the job. Alright, so watch my video. I'll go back to it. Watch this one here. Type this in if you want to watch. If you will see type in full specs, it's just up there. Look. There it is. If you want to type it all in, that will work as well. So I'm going to watch my own video. Then the sun's coming up and I'll get cracking with this job. Okay, so should be the improved version of the alternator job that I did. So it's well worth watching, and it's in daylight, which is great. So starting in the morning, it's probably about 8:30 in the morning. So turbo, the intercooler pipes need removing. I'm going to take it off here. Could do it here if I want. Undo it here. So 7 mil. Will it maybe leave one of them two on? Maybe leave that one on. Just take that one off and leave that one on. Looks like a 8 mil there. That's a little kind of funny. Not that needs taking off. This one I'm pointing to, that needs taking off by hand. That one, this one, this one, this one. Oh, this one here. This one here. 7 mils. So all these pipes can come off then, and I'll have a better view. And it's not a bad view at the moment of the alternator, which is down here. Then I'll need to use my small sharp nose pliers to pull out the cabling here. I think it's about 4 places where it's attached to this bracket. It looks like I'll put an extra cable tile. I'll have to put that back on another time. And looks like there's 2 8 mils just down here as well. So I'm going to do all that. So I'm pointing out all the ones I think I should need to do. So I'll just sort of quick time it, and if you want to watch how I do it, look at the other video that I did before a year ago. Link in the description. I'll leave a link in the description, and so I'll just crack on with that to save time. So the clip with the silver foil was connected here. Just push that down, pull that out. The silver bracket that holds all these cables in, I just use a very small pair of pliers to pull them out from this side of the silver bracket, not from that side of the silver bracket. So this is what it looks like, a bit more exposed. I've turned that thing back on. It's not magnetizable, so I'm not going to lose it. Okay, so now let's do what the Haynes Manual says. Just take this cable off the main, I guess it must be the, I don't know, we're positive and negative, I'm not going to guess, but take the rubber cap off, undo this cable, and this will kind of flop out of the way a bit easier. There'll be a second cable which I'm kind of trying to eyeball now. I think it's a push and plug jobby. Alright, so let's do that. Should be a rubber cap. Can't really tell from looking at it. Smells like rubber. Okay, comes out quite easily. I just pull from underneath. Feels like a complete rubber cap. Put that away somewhere. It's not going to be magnetizable, and obviously there'll be Obviously there'll be a 13 in the end of that, a 13 mil nut at the end of that, 13 mil nut at the end of that. I can see it. I think you can see it as well. I'll put a pointer on it. There it is. There it is. There's the 13. Right, strangely enough, that 13 mil, I can't get to it. This is a solid, this is a rubber hose connected to a solid pipe. I cannot find a tool that can reach in there. Shallow, whatever, you know, quarter inch, can't get in there. I can't undo the plugs as well. So, no, the plug I could probably eventually get to, but definitely I can't get to this, the end of this electrical connector. So, I'm going to try and unplug the two bolts, the 10 mil I think they are, on the aircon pump. But before that, I will need to take off the, pull back the tensioner, auxiliary belt tensioner, put a 4.5 mil in a hole just to retain it, and take off the belt, and then take off the tensioner bracket. Two bolts. Look, there's 3 holes in there, but there's only 2 that actually work on this model of this car. There's 3 holes, so don't be alarmed if you only find 2 bolts at the end, and there's 3. This is a 15 extension bar. There's a little hole that you can put the drill bit in. Pull that back. See if I get lucky this time. Rear of the, something in the way, some cabling in the way, sleeves in the way as well. Okay, let's let that go. Sleeve of my jacket's in the way. Useful, this drill bit wasn't so long. Going properly. So let's try the 4 mil. Straight spanner, if you're going to find one for this particular task. The angle just is either too much or too little. Make sure that 4 mil is inserted all the way. Okay, 4 mil is inserted all the way. Cutting into it. Okay, there's that. Looks like 10 mil. Right, okay, so out comes the okay, so that's the 13 mil that holds the electrical connector on. There should be another press to unplug thing. I think it's this one here. It's hard to see. Yeah, there's a single cable here. You can see where my pointer is between. There's a single cable here and a plug. So I guess that's press and unplug. Now, 10 mil and one here should be one here. 2 10 mils on the air compressor, and it's going to drop, but it's on a dowel, so it's going to strain these connectors, but they are, so it's going to drop somewhat. All right, I just wonder if I really need to take this off. If I can get to this 13 and that, wherever that unplug is, might not even be able to have to do this. Let me see if I can get this 13 off from underneath. Right, I've got another idea. I'm just going to undo this partially. I've already pulled that one out, but I might even put it back in a little bit partially. And there's also a third one just here where my finger's pointing. Hopefully the light's on there, just above where this just below where this plug-in socket is for the aircon clutch. So undo that one, might put this one back in. All I'm just going to do is move it over and give me enough room to get that 13 out from above. See, I just unloosened all three. This one is particularly long. The other two you don't undo that much and they come off, so I've just moved it forward. That should give me enough room, hopefully. If not, I might just keep that one on, take these two off and then swing the thing downwards. So just hang on that one there. But as it stands, putting it back on is a piece of cake. Just shove that on and bolt them back on. Alright, so it gives me extra bit. So doing that allowed me more room. So get this in, unless you've got like a tool that is really flat. So if I get this out, pull the cable out, and from the top I'll probably pull the other electrical single cable out. I think that goes to the regulator, I'm not 100% sure. So there is the second single, there's like a single cable. Press on the tab on here, press towards the right hand side of the engine, and then just wiggle. You can hear it click, and then you can just wiggle it out. Hear the click first, otherwise it's not working. The terminal for, I don't know, positive, negative, I've cleaned out a bit of sandpaper, put a bit of contact oil on it. So we're just left with the 4 bolts on the alternator now, I think. Right, so the removal of the AC is still under consideration, strong consideration, or I might move it out of the way, see what they, see if it can be just done with the thing moved out of the way. Now, the by the way, here's that alternator cable socket. It's just dangling there. I'll just show you. Sometimes it's good just to see what the connector is like. It's idiot proof. There's this side of it. Hopefully you can see that. It's very hard to see, but I can see it. Alright. Just push on that. There's a little yellow, the one with a little yellow thing. Don't push on that, just push on this end. Anyway, that came off. The aircon clutch cable thing needs to be taken out, because if I was just to undo the bolts on the AC and take the AC out, it would just hang on that, and that would definitely snap. And there it is. See that cable here, the very thin one. I'll get my pointer. The very thin cable just here connects to the AC. There's the thing that's wobbling, I just took off from the alternator. So that's got to come out before the AC comes out, or I'll snap it. The reason why the AC has got to be moved out of the way is because I can't get to the bottom bolt on the left hand side of the engine. So I can get to this one, but I can't get to the one underneath that at all. These two I can easily get to, but the bottom one or this I can't get to. The one down here I can't get to. Right, let me see if I can figure out. Let me still see if I can maybe shimmy this forward, maybe get a spanner in, I don't know. But I will try, otherwise I'll be removing that next. Right, so there is a clip, I would say, just if you press on the clip this way of that sensor, get a light on it. See that sensor there? Press on that little lever there, so from the left hand side of the engine to the right hand side of the engine, you'll hear click. It's a bit tricky in that. It comes off like that. That's what it looks like. That's the aircon sensor. Right, so got 2 bolts left. Take 2 bolts out, and I've got to move this out of the way. I'm going to take this one out first because the other one is quite long. Just got to leave that. Maybe I can just dangle it or something like that, or maybe keep this end in and dangle this end so I can get to the bolt. Let's see what I can do without having to let it sort of rest on these metal and rubber hoses. So conclusion is, yes, you do have to remove the aircon, but not the actual cables, not the actual aircon fluid cables. But I did remove the AC clutch controller, which if it's down here, it'll be fairly straightforward to plug back in. Now, what I just did is let it dangle. You can see that as I let it dangle, there wasn't too much stress on it, but I'm just resting it here against this metal bracket, just here. Alright, and just cable tied it with a single cable. So now, with my finger, hopefully I don't need a pointer, there is that rear left side bottom bolt exposed. There's going to be sleeves in there, like black sleeves. Now they recommend not to undo this all the way, just partially undo it, and that should do the trick. And I think, looking at this now, I can't see this falling to Never Neverland. It's just going to fall right on my lap if it does come out anyway, so I'm not really that worried anymore now I've got all this stuff undone. Alright, there it is. What's that? That's the AC, isn't it? No, that's the alternator plug. Alright, just double check there's no strain on any of the cabling. No, there's no strain, nothing straining it. Ready. So all the alternator bolts are 16, so I've unloosened that one, loosened the bottom one below that on the right hand side of the engine. Tricky one's this one. Take a 16 open spanner. Right, I don't think I did that up very tightly last time, just to help myself. And you're meant to partially undo these, and there's a black sleeve that comes out. Don't remove the back sleeve, otherwise I'm not 100% sure what it does. It just lines up the alternator, I think. See, there's the action right there. That's the what should I say? There's the bite hold right there, and then you gotta get that just right. Make sure you've got it spot on. There, that's spot on. See that? So I can push down. Hopefully I did not make this too tight, which I didn't do. Right, I'm going to push down. Okay, there it goes. It's going. Right, there we go. I've cracked the bolt. Now there's a little crevice just here, and your spanner should be able to creep between this cover and that crevice right there. Now that the difficult bit's done, I should just do it one more, and it's just a very slow process, this one. Remember, we're only doing it partially. That's why I didn't do it that time. Okay, so we get like, yeah, there's just about enough room to get this particular spanner slightly angled in. Just that gap there. I mean, you could take this cover off if you can figure out where the 2 screws are by looking at the alternator. 2 bolts are, remove the cover, and then that'll give you much more room. But anyway, take your time. It just about fits. You might get try and get a variety of spanners, maybe one with like a straight to kind of go in between, because you kind of have to try and catch that at the right angle. If it's not that, try and flipping over. If not that, then try the straight. You see what I mean? I've just got to carry on loosening these. Right, for this awkward one, using the ring side of the 16 spanner, I'm navigating between aircon and the gap available. So I'm thinking if I loosen this, loosen them two, and that top difficult left hand bolt is loosened, I can move this whole alternator that way. Now give me a bit more space against this thing here. Alright, so that bolt took maybe 10 minutes to undo. Alright, so there's this black sleeve in there that's not going to come out, it just sits there like that. I've left this bolt here. Where is it? There, I've left that in there for now. Let's do the top one until it falls out just like this as well. When it comes to a stage where the two on the left side of the engine are undone and it's just flopping down now onto, I don't know what pipe, but it's just flopping down. If that wasn't secure at the bottom, it would have fallen straight down. There, when it hit the aircon pump. Just undoing the last bolt. Would be wise to hook something on there in case I lose grip. If there weren't nothing underneath to catch it, it would be wise. I need a good grip on that. Don't worry about the bolt too much. Let it fall if you must need. Don't let it fall now, it's a long drop to the aircon pump. This thing spins. Awkward. Careful. Just about squeezes through with a bit of jiggling, a bit of manoeuvring. Oh, blimey. Let me see. Right, okay. In daylight. I'm not going to do that. Rear bearers. Okay. That's because one of the legs on the tripod, I don't know why they call tripods the most stable. I think 4 legs is more stable than 3 legs. Right, there's that beast to take out. It took me about an hour to take all the bolts out, maybe an hour and a half. So this is the second alternator. This had done 40,000 miles. That was last year, so 10,000 miles more, 15,000 miles more, and it's failed. Bearings are good. Now, I checked my old alternator and the commuter, or this what we call the stator, was worn. I'm just going to do the same check. Right. Okay. So remove the 2 8mm nuts, holding the cover on. Remove the 7mm bolts, as you can see on the floor, and that leaves the voltage regulator ready to be removed. If there was brushes in it, you will not be able to take this out. If the brushes are good, the brushes are reasonable, they're not too bad. Something else failed on this alternator then, see it? The brushes are sticking out. I mean, if I was to put that back in, it won't. I'll have to, push them in and then take this lid off, use some sort of screwdriver pull, push them in, and then put it on. But no, it's there, and it's not half as worn as my other old alternator. It hasn't worn to the metal. So it's not this, so something else went on this device, something else failed. Maybe it's this, maybe something in there had gone. There's a chip in there, isn't there? Looks like it's been covered in water or something, mud or something. It's failed in that way. It's not. There's some brushes left, definitely. and there's some stator or commuter left. So it's not that it's failed, so this will have to go to the dump. Can't repair this unless I just change this, but it could be something, there could be a short circuit in here. It's not worth keeping. £100 for a new one. Anyway, radio. So actually I'm going to keep this. No, I don't know. Not sure it's failed. No. Right. Do you know why they say in the Haynes Manual to undo these partially? I'll tell you why. Because these fellas can fall all the way through, believe it or not. It goes in like that, and I pulled it, the thread it came all the way through. So it sits in like that. So in theory I could have undone them two. I could have bolted it on partially and then pushed it in. So I should have been able to just undo them and then tug it out. I should have been able to undo them two, loosen these guys here, and then just pull. Even the bottom one comes through. Look, comes through that way. What a bizarre design. It just doesn't look like it. I spent extra probably half an hour trying to do these. I did pull at it many times. It would not come through. For some reason, it just comes through like that. I don't get it. I'm not 100% getting this. How this is working. It's very bizarre. I haven't got my mechanical mind around this yet. So should I just bolt them back on the, partially bolt them back onto the alternator and then shove it in? I should let you know. Final little clip of me be confirming that or not. I don't know, it's bizarre. Right, so no, you can't pre-install those left-hand bolts with the sleeve into the body of the, it just won't fit. So I had to remove them. I did try them in there. I had to remove them basically. I needed more room to get this thing down there. So the pre-install the left top and bottom bolt in, and really hard, but struggled to get this fella in. So after I got that fella in there, did that by hand a little bit, so it's catchy now. And so I think I'm going to be doing that bottom one up a fair bit before moving it up and then doing the top one up. That's it really, end of the video. Hopefully next scene is me starting the motor and it works. Right, one last thing before start putting everything back together. Make sure you are tightening. So what I've done is I've done the left hand bolts top and bottom until they're kind of still just from tightness, and then make sure you can still do this. Look, once you've done them up nearly to tightness, you can still shove this in and out. As soon as you tighten them up, and if I tighten up another 1/8 of a turn on the spanner, I won't be able to do this. So if you imagine you just had it slightly that way, right? So you went like that and you tightened it, so it was out here, and you tightened it, so that would mean the belt won't line up. So make sure you can still slide it in and out, then tighten the right hand bolts, the big bolts, and then finally do these ones, because I think what they do is just as you're just about to tighten it, it will, what happens if I tighten another 1/8, it will grip wherever it is. Those little spacers will just open up and grip. So be warned of that. Make sure you can push it all the way back, tighten these, then that final. Alright, so yeah, started up. First go, no hassle, no problems. Thanks for watching everyone. That was a very long day. So many things done. Did the brakes as well. Right, that's it, all done. Thanks for watching. Started up straight away, no issues. I noticed when I was, well, just clean down your car, make sure there's no nothing left on it that can rust the paint. Need some more brake cleaner. When I lower this car, I just got to remember to tighten the wheel nuts, and always double check if there's anything underneath when you lower the car and drive off, particularly have an extra look.